Okay, so basically Forerunner, so Forerunner harness, VVT-i 2006. You guys sent me 2 ECUs. Basically, we've done the same thing on both ECUs except for the one we have taken off the air injection, and the other one we have left it on. But we'll go through all of that. Right, so we've gone through the whole harness. We've replaced all of the connectors that were damaged. Okay. Sorry, this is a new motor that we've put on here, so everything's still sort of not tied in properly. Okay, so we've put in you'll see there's a connector down here. It's a single pin connector. That there takes a standard Toyota engine temperature sensor. Okay, so if you're running like an aftermarket gauge or even a Toyota gauge, but not a gauge relying on multiplex or CAN bus for temperature, okay, you would use this. This goes through to your client plug. Okay, so it's just a very easy way to monitor temperature. You can basically drill, so most of the 2UZs have a stopper plug down at the bottom there. You can basically drill and tap, okay, and just get a normal Toyota sensor that'll plug straight into that. It's far better than just a blade because it's got a proper seal in here and whatnot. Okay, if you don't want to use it, doesn't matter, but yeah, you're going to have to try and figure out a way to get your gauge to work. Do not take your temperature gauge from your radiator hoses because that's going to give you an incorrect reading. You know, you're measuring temperature going out of the motor, which doesn't help when you've got no water in the motor, and it doesn't help coming out of the radiator because it's already been cooled by the fans. So just keep that in mind. I mean, it sounds like you deal a lot, with Toyota and whatnot, so I'm sure those guys will advise you of exactly the same thing that I'm busy telling you. Okay, none of your injector connectors needed to be replaced. None of your coil connectors needed to be replaced. Typical of VVT, very good. These were all upgraded from the previous generation, so these literally give no problems at all. All of this stuff is still intact. Okay, there's a reason for this. Basically, if you're going to use the delete, or the deleted ECU, then you don't have to worry. You can just leave it all in because it's all been removed from the program. Okay, if you are going to use your this bypass thing that you went and bought, then I think you've got a patch harness that'll basically plug into these 2 VSV valves, and then you can just unplug those and put them down into the chamber. Okay, and then you've got a patch harness that plugs into that device. I don't think that you're going to need to use that bypass anyway. But yeah, let me know. I mean, this isn't our first motor. You should have no problem at all. Running down here, you've got a harness that goes down to your alternator, so that's basically just straight plug in. Okay, and the signal for your charge light will be in your client plug. Okay, been through all of that there. This is a filter. It's just for noise. Okay, this would normally go onto a tab or ground. It's basically just to get rid of noise on the radio, running through the... You can pick up ignition interference through radio signal. Okay, so that basically eliminates that. Running down here, you've got an earth. You've actually got a couple of earths on here. You need to... We just find them. Sorry, I did not wire this motor myself, so there's the one over there. And you've got the other one on the other side. They usually come onto the back of the cylinder heads. This is something that Toyota does, and this is something that I would suggest that you do. I have seen differences. I know it's kind of weird. This is a ground that goes to the cylinder head. So I know it's kind of weird because you've got, I have many head bolts holding the heads on. But I have noticed a difference when you do not ground the heads directly to a negative. Okay, is that it can affect the management system. So rather just put a ground on. I always suggest putting one on either head or on both heads, okay, to your firewall, or in your thing I think was a tube frame. So wherever you've got a proper ground, just put an earth tab and yeah, get that grounded properly. Okay, coming around the back here, you've got a whole bunch of stuff coming out of here. get this video that I can just go through it with you. Okay, so you've got your air injection stuff. That is not going to be a problem one way or another. Okay. Coming out here, your harness is going to go to your right-hand O2 sensor. Okay, these primary, so you've got left and right. Okay, these two are required for the management. Do not try and delete them because it's going to mess around with your air fuel ratios. Okay. Running down again, input speed sensor goes around, solenoids. Okay, we have left these in. Okay, not required. Just leave them if you're not running it. I can't remember if you were or not, but my techies left it in. So these are your secondary O2 sensors, not required for the actual running of the motor, okay, at all. And all of the DTCs have been removed anyway from your ECU. So it's not going to give you error codes. It's not going to affect the running of the motor at all. So you've got that one, and then you've got one on this side, okay. Output speed sensor and your selector switch, okay. Running around here, you've got another earth running on that side of the head. So this is direct earth from the engine harness itself. Make sure that that is connected. Those earths are obviously required for the management system, okay. This side very much the same as the other side. So, sorry about all of this stuff. I haven't cleaned anything up on this engine yet. So exactly the same as the other side, really. I mean, all of your injectors, all of your coils, you've got another filter on this side. You've got your VVT or your post VVT cam sensor, same as the other side. Okay. VSV for evap. So this has been deleted from the program in the computer. If you do use it, great. If you don't use it, great. It's not going to give you an error code. You should have no DTCs on this motor at all, or on this harness itself. Okay. Running around, you've got your oil control valve. You've got one on either side. I think the one was replaced, the other one wasn't. Not necessary to. Okay, and then you've got your 6-pin connector for your drive-by-wire. We're going to go into this just now. Something a lot of people overlook. Okay, is a setup process that you're going to have to go through. Okay, 3-pin connector for your pre-VVT-i cam sensor. Okay, running down, you've got aircon, which I don't think you guys are going to use, but we wire it anyway. Okay, if you do not use it, you can just unplug it. It's not going to make any difference. Okay, and then running down, you've got your sorry man, I've got all of this stuff still on the motor. So you got your cam, you got your crank sensor, and you've got your oil control. So this is the big one like that is for a gauge. Okay, so it's a sender. And then if you've got the small one is basically for a light. So that's just, it takes the same connector. It's got nothing to do with the management system at all. It's all about if you're running a gauge or if you're running a oil pressure light. Okay, so if you're running a gauge, it's going to be the big one. If you're running a oil pressure light, it's got the small one like what you'd find on a 3UZ or a 1UZ or anything like that. Okay. Yeah. So this is all mechanical anyway. This is all your, fuel return. I don't use any of this on this motor because we do that within the fuel tank itself. So our fuel pressure has been regulated as it goes, before it goes into the motor. These two connectors coming out of the back, this is all to do with your under chamber, so your knock sensors and your air injection system. Okay, so I've just put in a patch wire here just for the crank. Okay. Your sub harness is basically going to just plug straight into this, and you connect everything up under your chamber, okay, as you normally would, and to your knock sensors, critical, as well as obviously your starter motor solenoid. Okay, so just install that harness as it would normally be. If you're going to use the air injection delete, or if you're going to use the computer that we've supplied with the with it being deleted out of the program. Okay, so if air injection delete, what we've done is we've had a look at the diagrams there, and what we've done is this will plug directly into the air injection delete. Okay, these are the 3 wires that are in the delete setup. They say that you are basically going to bridge into 3 wires. These have already been bridged into it. Okay, so this is going to plug directly into it. And these are the 3 additional wires that you're going to connect to the delete device. I would suggest leaving it first, okay, and run the ECU that we've programmed to remove the delete, okay, because I can tell you right now it's going to be just fine, okay. Okay, so your fuse box, inside your fuse box, same as all of them that we do. So you basically got your engine light. So this is a duplicate engine light. You've also got one on your client plug. We'll get to that in a moment. So you've got an engine light there. You've got an earth. That single terminal, blank terminal, is just an earth. The guys can use that for, if they're testing fuses or whatever with the test light. These are all your fuses. You've got your start relay, fuel control relays. You've got your EFI and main relays. Everything is documented in the back of your fuse box lid. Okay. Get that back on there. Just make sure when you do put on these lids, put the one side on and you hear that click. Just make sure that it clicks in. A lot of guys, they put it on, they don't listen for the click, and then they drive down the road and they lose their lid. Okay. Okay, so all of this just plugs. Get that. All of this just plugs straight into your ECU. Okay, so you've got your five connectors that plug into your ECU. The one here that has this yellow, we usually brand all of this. What I'll do is I'm going to leave this on here as a marker. So this is the one with the yellow writing on it is the one that has been programmed with the removal or the delete of the air injection. Okay, both of the ECUs have had performance tuning done to them, evap, secondary O2s, all of that's been deleted from both of the computers. Okay, this one I've removed the air injection. The other one we have left the air injection. So if you are going to use it without your bypass kit, you use this computer with the yellow, and if you are going to use that bypass kit, then put the other computer. Okay, this one should theoretically work irregardless of the air injection delete thing. It doesn't. It's not even going to look at it. Okay. Then you have a few more bridge wires coming out of here. Okay, so you've got a total of you've got 4 here. Okay. 10-pin connector. This is the main connector that you're going to be connecting up to the vehicle to make a run. You've got starting over here is going to be. It's going to be green, you're going to have brown with the yellow, you're going to have red, which is that thicker one over there, 16 gauge. So green is start, ignition is green, start is going to be your brown and yellow, your fuel pump power supply is that red one, that 16 gauge. That is a power supply for the fuel pump. That can go directly to the fuel pump. You do not need to run that through a relay. It's already been relayed within your fuse box, okay? You got your rev counter, temperature gauge. On the side, you got your oil light, you've got your charge light, you've got your engine light, and that black with the white is your aircon compressor, which again, you're probably not going to be using. These 2 connectors are for your diagnostics and for your pedal. So we wire all of that in for you. Okay, this is a patch harness that we give. So even though there's 2 connectors here, you are just going to plug in. Okay, and on the other side of this, let me quickly. So this is basically a length of harness that's going to take it from the engine through to the cab. You've got 2 plugs on the end. One's going to plug into your accelerator pedal. One is going to be your, I'm not going to unplug it, otherwise my scanner's going to go crazy. It's going to be your OBD2 connector. I've got my interface plugged in here currently. Okay, so basically install it wherever you want in the cab, and the accelerator pedal, which obviously has to go into a practical location. And then the last one is going to be for your transmission. Okay, so here you've got park, reverse, neutral drive, you've got your overdrive, you've got your 3.2L, is basically what all this is. I don't know if you're going to be using any of that, but yeah, if you do, you got your reverse light signal, and the park, neutral drive, whatnot, is usually used for the guys that want to, put all the lights on the dashboard for whatever gear they're in. Okay. And there's another ground over there. So yeah, coming out of the airflow meter, wiring. So the 5-pin small airflow meter being the VVT-i. And yeah, it's as simple as that. The one thing that I did want to show is what a lot of guys do on these 2UZs, what they do wrong. I'm just going to switch the ignition on now. Okay, so this accelerator pedal, I just want to show you this. So when you have a look at the throttle, okay, I've got my accelerator pedal over here, right? If you look at the throttle valve, I'm going to depress the accelerator pedal, okay? And I want you just to see what she does. See, she does not open fully, right? I want you to hold down the accelerator pedal, right? And you can see the throttle valve is moving, right? And it's going to carry on doing that all the way until it gets to a full open position. Usually takes about 40 seconds, okay? We may as well just wait for it to... Well, it's going to reset anyway when I disconnect the battery and stuff when it goes in shipping, because obviously there's nothing there. So you can see she's basically fully open now. So now I'm going to let go of the accelerator pedal and I'm going to push it again. You can see now she pretty much opened fully, okay? So you're supposed to do this according to Toyota 3 times. So you switch on the ignition, you basically push down the pedal, hold her open, okay, for 40 seconds, or you can visually watch the actual butterfly valve, okay? Let go of the pedal, don't switch off the ignition, leave it on, okay? Do that 3 times, okay? Start the motor, let her run for like 5 minutes. You're going to basically let her run until you can hear the idle drop. So in other words, it's out of cold start and it's into running, okay? Switch off the motor for 10 minutes, okay? Then start the motor up again, okay? And then you let her run for another 5 minutes, okay? And then your throttle body should be recalibrated. It's very important to calibrate your throttle body, because what will happen is, like you see there where I just switched her on, she only opened maybe 30% or 25% of the way, and then you're going to think that, the motor's got absolutely no power. Meanwhile, it's just a case of you having to reset your throttle. Okay, so that is basically that. I mean, I can go through a couple of other things here. Ventilation system. So this thicker tube. You've got a PCV valve. It's generally a purple valve. It comes out of the left-hand valve cover. That is the vacuum side. So this is the side drawing the vacuum. Okay, and it goes into your throttle or into your plenum chamber. And it's drawing the vacuum through your right-hand valve cover through this tube. This tube needs to be connected between your throttle body and your airflow meter, okay? Don't put it anywhere else, because the air going into this tube it's going to end up going into the plenum chamber, and it needs to be calculated by the airflow meter. Otherwise, obviously the ECU's got no idea. Well, it's getting the incorrect values, okay, of what air is going into the motor. So just make sure that has been plumbed up correctly. Okay, let me put on the airbox and yeah, then we'll give her a test run. We've already done the throttle calibration. I'm not going to rev the hell out of her because I don't have cooling system or anything like that on here. But yeah, we'll give her a run and we will do a diagnostics scan and look for any DTCs. There will be some DTCs because, like I say, we haven't there's a couple of things that we have not masked out of here. Okay, like your NOx sensors. Those are required for the system and for protection of the motor. You do not want to get rid of those. Okay, so the only thing that we've got connected in here currently is the starter motor solenoid, and the rest of the wires that you see in there is for the NOx sensors. Okay, that has all been wired up in here's your sub harness right here. Okay, so there's all the stuff that goes underneath your plenum chamber, okay, and that there you've got your two plugs over here that'll plug basically into the back of your motor, so you don't have to worry about it. All of this stuff has been documented in your your client folder, but it's going to be very, very, very simple for you to connect up. It's really not a big it's not a big exercise at all. Let me get the air intake pipe on, plug in the airflow meter, and then we will do a test run. We'll have to do I switched on the ignition, so we're going to have to do a clearing of the DTCs, because it's going to pick up that the airflow meter is not there. So I'll have to clear that. But yeah, let's quickly put all of that stuff on, and then we will do a test run. Okay, so here we are. Bit of a tight squeeze. This motor obviously came out of a Tundra rather than out of a 4Runner, so this is a bit of a stretch, but yeah, it's all good. So yeah, basically connected up this tube over here. Okay, so that's all part of the ventilation system, put on the air box and whatnot, and we will give her a run. Let's see quickly. There's your other ECU. I'm not going to be able to run it for very long because, like I said, I don't have a cooling system on here, but yeah, let's see how she goes. She might take a little bit of time also to build up fuel pressure, so just excuse that. Airflow, let's just clear all of that. Okay, so you got knock sensor, knock sensor, knock sensor, knock sensor, right? Okay, it's all knock sensor codes. That's all we've got here. Okay. So theoretically, when you plug in, well, not theoretically, but when you plug in your, let me just kill this. She runs beautiful though. But yeah, when you clear that, you're going to have to clear that. Okay, you're going to have to plug in a scanner and clear that once you put it in, because obviously I've got to have the ignition on when I clear the codes, and obviously I can't clear those codes because the knock sensors aren't plugged in, so it'll just put them straight back on again. But yeah, you should have absolutely no troubles at all. Okay. Like I say, you got two computers. I've not charged you for two. I've charged you for one. Please let me know. Both of them have performance tunes on them. I think that you guys are really going to enjoy it. But yeah, let me know any troubles at all. We are here. Okay.